Welcome to episode 4 of Candid Conversations, hosted by Ebony. I'm going to give a brief disclaimer. Please be advised that most of the things that are spoke about on this podcast is just based off of opinion. So anything I'm discussing is just the opinion. So just chill. This is a judgment-free zone. So you're more than welcome to listen, like, and share. So I was reading this article about women sharing reasons to end relationships that aren't talked about enough. One woman spoke about her boyfriend and prioritizing partying and friends over family. I'll read the story. He prioritized his friends over me. I think prioritizing friends and family is important, but it got to a point where I was miserable. We were both in our mid-30s, and he wanted to always go to parties and bars to see his friends. We never had quality time together. It reached its breaking point when my aunt suffered cardiac arrest and was airlifted from 700 km or kilometers away to the hospital in my city. Instead of coming to the hospital with me or even emotionally supporting me, when I went to be with her, he went to the bar and got drunk. Child. I didn't even get a text or a call for 24 hours. He just disappeared. When I got upset, he said, "Seeing Dave is more important. He's my friend." I broke up with him the next day. My aunt died a few hours later. That's wild. Okay, prioritizing your partying and family, that's something you do when you're like young in the immature phase. Usually around that time, you want to be lit like a candlestick and you just want to do what you want to do. And lack of better words, you also should not be in a relationship if this is your way of living at this time. Period. Story 2. He and his mother were too dependent on each other, which annoyed me. Child. Yes. Your mom been let you go. Let her go. It's cool to have a healthy relationship, but come on now. Like, have a boundary. But this annoyed me too. I would want the person I'm dating to have a healthy relationship, but mama not going to be our permanent third wheel. There has to be a boundary again. Once again, boundary. Big boundary. Alright. This third woman stated that her boyfriend had an adult TV addiction, which led her to believe that society has brainwashed people into thinking this is normal behavior. I've been in a relationship with a person who had the same addiction. It was kind of weird. The individual continuously attempted to invite me to participate in these behaviors, but I really would go like grab a quick snack or get on the phone just to evade it. I felt like Sweet Brown. Ain't nobody got time for that. Another woman spoke about men playing video games all day. Video games are far more important than spending time with their partner. I'm a very simple person. I don't care about gifts or having money spent on myself. Let's walk in the park. Just spend some time with me. My ex-husband would find any excuse not to spend time with me. The most common was gas costs money, don't it? I'd rather hang out at home. His idea of hanging out was him playing video games with his online friends while I sat quietly watching TV, but with a low volume so his friends wouldn't be distracted. Child. So playing games all day. Now, she did not specify if this man was employed, but he also was her husband. And I've never been married, so I will table that perspective. From a girlfriend's point of view, though, yes, I would have had to immediately vacate the relationship. If it was Call of Duty, especially because I don't know how to play that. Next, we'll touch on Peter Pan syndrome. The Peter Pan syndrome describes people who have difficulties with growing up. They may find it hard to manage typical adult responsibilities such as keeping a job and maintaining healthy relationships. It is said that people with Peter Pan syndrome behave irresponsibly and display narcissism. Here's the story. Peter Pan syndrome, when my 60-year-old boyfriend told me, the 53-year-old female, the reason he had not $1 saved for his retirement is because he was a risk taker. And I'm not. I realized I have to support him for the rest of his life while he looked down on me for it. So I walked away. So is not having a retirement fund a deal breaker? I'm asking you guys because I'm thinking, does he have employment? What is this man's occupation? Yeah, if I have a retirement fund and you don't, I got to skedaddle. For you guys who don't know, that means I have to say adios, farewell, arrivederci, goodbye, au revoir. See you later. Please don't forget to like, share, and follow. Thank you for listening. The next story I'm going to talk about is their mate exhibiting poor boundaries. Poor boundaries with the other women in his life. Whether it's his female friends or an overbearing mother, emotional enmeshment and weird blurring of roles for the people in his life have always resulted in pain for me. Partners should have each other's backs. Yep, if you don't have my back, then what are we doing? It's supposed to be I got your back, you have mine. I guess this dude had everyone's back, but hers. Shaking my head. I'm really actually shaking my head right now. I know you cannot see me, but I'm shaking my head. People want to feel like you got them. Lack of communication skills, even if accidentally, it can still cause a lot of friction if communication is non-existent. Learn how to talk your problems out instead of exhibiting passive aggression. So I believe some people try to avoid conflict by ignoring the communication, which leaves room for the other person to create their own narrative. I'm a firm believer that once both parties have the appropriate amount of time to decompress and process, they can meet back and engage in healthy dialogue. Or maybe agree to disagree. You won't agree on everything, but you should be able to have the common ground. This was a good section as well. I broke up with a guy because I found a skid mark in his undies. I repeat, the lady said she broke up with the guy because she found a skid, S-K-I-D, mark in his undies. Hygiene is incredibly important to me. The guy didn't smell or anything, but every time I looked at him, all I could see was dirty bottom. If you can't do the basic task of washing or wiping your bottom correctly, I'm not going to stick around to figure out what other nasty habits you have. Oh man. Now. I've seen this before. Like a 6-inch skid mark. But I digress. You know, hot water and soap does a body justice. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Constantly arguing, especially if you've been dating less than 2 years. I think some people think fighting is normal in a relationship. And of course, some disagreements are normal. But if you've been together less than 2 years and have fought a lot, I think that's a sign of deep incompatibility that can really be worked on. So I totally agree with this woman regarding deep incompatibility, but I also believe this is a sign of toxicity in a relationship. If you are always arguing, someone is trying to win the argument, which will result in someone being demeaned and probably feeling attacked. This is an unhealthy attribute in a relationship. Okay guys, this is the final story, and then I'm going to close with my final opinion. Honestly, the maturity levels many women believe they can bring their partner up to speed. But why should you have to take on that labor in the first place? There were a lot of reasons my last relationship didn't work out, but I have realized since then that he simply wasn't on my level in terms of maturity. I'm someone who has no familial support network and didn't grow up with money, while his family was incredibly involved with each other and independently wealthy. He had no self-initiative and was happy to sit in discomfort until someone came and fixed it for him. I am very empathetic and always working towards improving not just my own life, but the lives of those I care about. He was happy to profit from that and not support me in the ways I requested. Also, a boy was looking for a superwoman. It's giving Lil Mo and Fabulous. I'm just kidding. I'm playing. But honestly, maturity is a key component in a relationship. We just read the story about a 60-year-old man and a 53-year-old woman who shared a similar issue with maturity. If this man's family wants to get him out of bonds and support him, that's their business. They are in a financial state where they support that man, and that's the life he will continue to live. A life with dependency. I found this article very interesting because us women don't really like to disclose information regarding past relationships due to facing the opinions of others. I can honestly say none of these aren't my story, but a few of these behaviors have been identified in the ex. And I had to relinquish communication, so I get it. But please like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to read more of these articles. We're going to get some more information. We're going to talk more about a whole bunch of things. But yeah, stay tuned.